My nuclear hug guy. Let's see what we're doing.
Dust can't hide from Swiffer Sweeper.
First thing,
Traps and
graph.
locks 2 times
Graph
dirt,
is
dust,
string
and
theory, okay? I mean, you got to use some Penrose, do some fancy stuff. Once I explain it to you, it's usually pretty quick. I'm hoping that he would talk about that. You know, it's like, well, it's not just a string of Tesla, it's a string of Boot Barn, it's a string on... That's what determines what the element is. That's what determines its timeline. That's what determines your position, your momentum inside of there, and the risk analysis you take to those, which should still be a Hubble 45 on flat, curved, saddled, the approximation on the angle, where your spectrum to it. When you're this close and it's all flat and you know it's supposed to be a circle, you know you're close. When it's down here and it's a dot, yeah, that's string theory between this radiant right here. Trying to be nice in my nuclear hugs guy. I like my...
What's going on, smart people? Kelly and I just finished moving into a new apartment, and now it's time to get back to work and making videos again. So recently I put out a post asking for resource recommendations for learning string theory, and that was met with suggestions of resources,
articulation,
of course, but also a bit of why would you
vocabulary,
do that? Why would you want to learn string theory? So I wanted to use
data
this video
compression
as a chance to kind of address that. So why do I want to learn string theory? Well, first and foremost, the nudge that I needed to finally start looking into it was Simon Clark's recent video where he talks about
neurology,
quantum field theory. And I think he really inspired a lot of us to finally pull the trigger on learning that topic or that skill that we've just been putting off. So what I'm getting at is if this goes horribly, it was Simon Clark's fault. Let me actually move over here so that I can steal Parth's thing as well.
Yeah,
so
I
to
did
give
more
the
from yesterday.
mandatory description of string theory that you've probably heard a million times, string theory is an attempt at unifying the two big pillars of fundamental physics.
He did
Einstein's theory of gravity, which is general relativity, and the Standard Model, which is comprised of a bunch of quantum field theories that describe the other fundamental interactions of nature. Needless to say, the prerequisites being a working knowledge of both general relativity and quantum field theory is a pretty tall order. So part of the reason I want to learn string theory is because
I don't mind doing
the
additional models.
M1, well, doing my PhD in
M0,
nuclear and particle
M1,
physics. Every calculation I do
M1,
uses quantum field theory, so I have
M1,
a pretty
M2.
reasonable understanding
I don't
of it.
mind.
I'm still by no
it's like,
means an expert in
but
any
I
stretch
had
of
to
the
have some
imagination,
kind of gravity
but I
to
do
go,
know my way around
well,
page
Tesla.
807
It's the big one.
Passenger
Obviously,
rotor,
they're
or
the
at
one
least
winning
that's
the
the page I
number.
use.
Right.
As for general relativity,
then there's
I
something,
made my lecture
anything
series
else.
on tensor
Boot Barn.
calculus, which ended with Einstein's
You know,
field
you get
equations, and I also took a graduate course with Kelly in general relativity.
The string right here.
As far as prereqs go,
you know,
I think
that's
I'm there.
gonna be speeds, the trig, the square, the...
Never learned GR. Never learned general relativity.
If you didn't understand it, that was general relativity. And the end of it, what do you graphing? Just some observation of cosmetology?
They can't learn both. I suspect it's because it's
So
difficult
here's one from Boot Barn.
much time.
Well, let's change the macro and micro on Tesla.
That sounds a lot like gen eds in U.S. institutions, now that I'm saying that out loud.
Well, the problem with it is time. It's like you have to do, this is 3 hits a day, 9 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And you're checking all this, trying to find the average in that window. Can it be done with autonomous program? A, B, C, 1, 2, 3 of different sectors. Just Boot Barn.
Both general relativity and quantum field theory.
You know, I get X, Y, and Z.
So for one small aspect of my research, I have to look at quantum
I know that one's new.
Space-time, which is different
now,
from
unit measured is usually how I like to do that one system. It's like time and the unit measured of a new form. It's like you don't have the first one. X equals the square root of t. Simple, little, small parts. It's him, it's me, I'm a square root of t, he's a square root of t, but how would you value that number? What name? What concept? Is that transitory? Is that cyclical? Jobs? The devil?
Why is it that so
Gravity?
many people have such strong opinions about it, such strong criticism? And I think the obvious point is, well, some people are just full of shit and talk out of their ass. But that's not entirely fair because you don't have to know how an iPhone was built to tell when it's not working properly. Right? The experimental nuclear physicist doesn't have to know the subtleties of an intermediate step in a theory calculation to see if a model prediction agrees with experiment.
If you work at McDonald's,
so
you know the intermediate step theory.
Side of things,
it's 1 plus 1 is Euler's number divergent flows of systems. But there's also high-end systems. When I look at the system of this computer terminal from McDonald's, there's, you want fries with that? Milkshake. But there's also chromodynamics.
Someone else's. So I reached out to David Tom,
program limits, scales on systems. Well, that's way out there for the management level, but management level.
On string theory, which came very
degrees of understanding this from McDonald's Special Forces. Now, quantum dynamics says, you know, I'm going to break you up into superposition. The terminal, the window, the burger station, which all have different graphs, and they're compelled against different people who already did that. Some are very good. You would say they're killing it on the money, crushing labor, like for the minimum wage. That's why I'm going to give them a raise first.
Let me know in the comment section if you are as well. I'll see you guys there.
But good stuff. Learn the string. You know, Special Forces head first down the wire, and that's how we all do it now. Unknown soldier.